the broadcast.
If there's anything else we'd want to cover this week? Guess not. Guess it'll be a short show, which is fine.
Are we going to do these emails, the long ones?
We're not going to read them out loud the whole way.
If the show's running short, I can.
Please, God, no.
And I'll read them. And I'll read them dramatically.
We'll give him an accent and he can read it.
Word.
Give you like some bongos and jazz flute in the background. Sorry, my keyboard is incredibly loud. I've gotten used to it though. My ears are much less offended by the mechanical keyboard sound after using it for a few weeks now.
What kind of switches are...
They are the quietest ones. They're Cherry MX Reds.
Huh.
But for the first few weeks, did you want to like jump out of a window? And...
I did. Like I was like losing it, and then I bought a palm rest because the keyboard is super thick because it's mechanical, and that was a huge help. Once I had the palm rest, and once I got used to the noise, like I like it a lot now. Like I actually am okay with it.
I have self-diagnosed misophonia, so I don't think I could handle it. The sound would drive me.
Certain sounds drive me insane.
I have
selective misophonia.
I have MX Brown switches in my keyboard, and I feel like they're supposed to be louder than the Reds because they have like tactile catch on them. But I feel like it doesn't really make any noise unless you push hard enough to bottom the key out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess if you push softly on the Reds, they don't make any noise at all. But like for the way I type typically, like that's the amount of. Not terrible.
You just basically you don't have the cushion of like a smushy weird rubber dome under each key.
Yeah, there's no rubber membrane in there.
Although you can get rubber washers though to put in your keys, top of the switch.
I used to work with somebody who would never say a word, but would get angry throughout the day, and the angrier she got, the harder she would type. And this was open cubicles, so like you could always like measure her particular level of anxiety based on how loud her typing was.
Yeah, I've known people who will send a message with particular gusto by hitting enter very hard. And that's
I've never understood that. Like nobody on the receiving end is ever going to understand that you've
I think it goes back to
force into the key,
slamming the phone or something.
It's kind of like punching a pillow. It's like it's like the digital form of punching a pillow.
You're sending off that little tidbit of aggression with your message.
Right.
With that action.
It'd be like signing off on your emails with like 80 lines of white space between your signature and the end of the body text.
And then below that 80 lines would be one of those things that's like, you cannot share anything in this email. It is private.
Yes.
Also, that stuff you just read is embargoed, so...
Yeah, BTW. I know you didn't agree to any of this, but you did.
By the way, the embargo is embargoed, and you can't talk about the embargo.
It's like a national security letter from the government. You can't talk about it.
Okay. All right. Are we ready to go?
I don't know what day it is. So...
Oh, you got all crackly.
Crackly?
You're fine now. It was weird.
I'm sure she's something else.
I moved my computer like right as that was happening, so maybe that's
why.
I'm done moving my computer.
You angered the machine.
Yeah, angered the machine.
And
wait,
we're recording, but there's no. Oh wait, okay, this is good. I should fix this real quick.
David, do we have simple this week or no?
No.
No. Just made myself sad. I found a random lock, and I thought, hey, I have a random key. Let's see if they go together. They don't.
Sad.
Okay, we are actually recording now, so that's good.
All right, we ready?
We ready.
We ready. Welcome to the Android Police Podcast, your weekly audio source for all things Android. It is Thursday, September 17th, 2015. I'm your host, Matthew Smith.
I'm David Ruddick.
I'm Liam Spradlin.
I'm Ryan Whitwam.
I don't know that there's any amount of weeks that will ever get me used to coming in on that intro without any music.
Yeah, it's true. It is a bit stark.
It's weird. I mean, it sounds all right when you work your magic on it, David, but just, I don't know. I just don't know that I'll ever get used to it.
Is the chat room showing up for anybody in the post? Let's see.
I was in it earlier, but I got the Kiwi plugin working, so I'm not using it anymore.
Oh wait, there it goes. It just didn't want to load the first time because it's just bad apparently.
Well, it is bad, yeah.
Technical explanation there. Okay.
Yeah, when they coded that, they included too much bad.
They did.
They should just comment out the bad, and then that'll fix it.
Yeah. It was really, really a bad idea in the first place to put any bad in there.
Well, sometimes you get bad in the compiling just because you didn't put enough good.
See, well, they should have put more good in then, I guess.
Yeah, it's just a byproduct of lack of good.
Hindsight 2020.
All right, so we should talk about Android-y things, starting off with Android Pay, with some interesting new tricks and disappointing new limitations. Well, not really new, but so we saw this week that loyalty promotions have some extra special functionality, which isn't exactly new. So I don't know, guys. I haven't got a chance to use this. The way I understand it is if you have Android Pay and you also have a loyalty program for the place that you are paying for something, it just automatically loyalties you. Is that how it works?
I believe loyalty is the verb. It loyalties you.
It loyalties you.
I don't know. I haven't used that yet. Does anybody else know?
So is like the deal that you would just pay with your normal payment method, and if there's a loyalty card also in your account, that'll just automatically happen?
That's what it seems like.
I guess, yeah. So like if you had an American Express card, but that's different though, because American Express would handle that.
So if you're in Walgreens and you have a Walgreens reward thing and you pay your bill, then automatically like your Walgreens reward stuff will be credited. Is that what I'm?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what the example use case would be. I am not a big time rewards and benefits shopper.
Yeah.
So.
I go crazy for rewards and benefits at the week of my birthday. Like I have all these cards, and then I'm like, I go through on the week of my birthday, and I figure out which one gets me free stuff, and then I forget they exist for the rest of the year.
Do your friends get you all of your reward benefits?
Do my friends?
Yes. Do you have friends with benefits?
I don't have friends in general. So there's no benefits, and certainly not ones that would automatically happen whenever I use my phone to pay for something.
Now that's a feature they need to build into Android Pay. That would give them a definite leg up on Apple.
That's true. Yes. So anyway, I guess Cody fooled around with it. My Coke Rewards apparently is the only one that currently works, but the fact that it works at all leaves some good mojo going forward, right?
I guess. I mean, the whole Android Pay thing is just such an annoying patchwork right now of like half supported stuff that it's depressing.
Yeah. I used Android Pay the other day. I was at Macy's, and my girlfriend wanted to buy this lunchbox thing, and I'm like, no, let me pay for it. Mostly entirely because I wanted to use Android Pay.
Is that what you told her? Were you like, no, I'll get it this time,
She's like, I have a Macy's card. It'll be 20% off. And I'm like, no, let me pay for it. So then I used it, and then you put it on, the scanner, and then it asked me for a fingerprint. It was the S6 Edge Plus I was using. And I'm like, this is pointless. But apparently it's a bug, and like that should only happen in very specific situations, according to Cody. But right now it's happening like almost every transaction.
That same thing happened to me with that same phone actually. And after I touch the scanner, it's like, oh, I need a fingerprint, and then you have to like touch to the scanner again, or like keep it in the vicinity of the scanner. It was more awkward than Wallet.
Yeah, it was like I felt really stupid trying to use it, and also, of course, the checkout person's looking at you like this isn't gonna work.
I know. The thing is, like, this is like NFC payments have been a thing for like 4 years now, and like, and even Apple Pay has been around for a year, but you will still shock and amaze people when you do that.
Oh, she wasn't shocked and amazed. She just gave me like the lifted eyebrow of, huh? I guess that's nice for you. Here's your receipt.
I've only ever used a taxi. I used Wallet in a taxi once, and that was only because I was in the back seat, so I felt like I had a private
you were
private moment to use Wallet.
You can't see what I'm
doing.
Well, no, because I expected it to fail, so I was like, if this fails, I don't want people to see.
Now, you know what? This is why I'm very apprehensive about using Samsung Pay, because like that's going to work supposedly on like non-NFC terminals, like just a regular scanner. So you're just going to walk up to this thing and rub your phone on it, and everyone's going to be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, especially with like, you know, places where it's like, oh, I need to hand you my credit card so that you can then swipe it in this little machine that is like just slightly awkwardly too far away from the front of the counter.
Can I just lean over and just rub
walk behind here and pay? Can you? I like, it seems so awkward. I mean, there are situations where it could work, like in a taxi especially. Like if you have a swipe reader in a taxi, which, you know, a lot of people in certain cities do use, I mean, that makes sense because like God knows how long it's going to take for them to get NFC. But in general, yeah, the idea of the Samsung one, like, you know, there's going to be a person at like a sit-down restaurant who's going to be like, I want to use Samsung Pay to pay for my meal. And they're like, the register's like 30 feet away. You want to walk over there and tap it, you know?
Or let the waiter take your phone.
You just give them, you sever your thumb and you put your thumb and the phone on the tray. And you have them take
let me just draw you a quick diagram of my lock screen pattern so that you can process the payment.
In Europe, this would actually work because most restaurants in Europe, or a lot of them, they bring the reader to you. It's a wireless reader.
I've been to some places that do that.
Yeah, and that's like, okay, I could see like how that would be cool. But
yeah, well, that's the whole chip and pin thing that they've got going on over there. That you know, we should be getting soon.
Here.
Chip and pin, it sounds so quaint, like, you know.
Well, it's
the old chip and pin.
Here it's not chip and pin, it's chip and signature, but it's the same. It's the same basic concept.
Well, the chip and pin is so weird to use because it's like you stick your card halfway in the machine and then you leave it in there and then you type in the pin and then you take it out. Yeah, and it's like so confusing to me.
I don't know if they're doing it everywhere, but Target, where I live, has already started doing that. So if you have a chipped card, you have to plug it into the machine, and it was super confusing the first time I did it because I was like, wait, I leave it in there the whole time? That seems inconvenient.
Yeah, it really kind of is.
Just because this is something I know a thing or two about, like the only reason that this even exists is so that if you decide to fight the charge, Target doesn't float the bill for it. That's the only reason they're doing it, is because they don't want to have to pay chargebacks.
Well, they got hacked real bad last year or whatever.
Yeah, they did.
So
they did.
I'm sure that definitely has something to do with it.
One could say they were targeted. That was too
You might
easy.
say that.
That was dumb. I retract saying that.
Okay.
Yeah. So Samsung Pay and then Android Pay, and Android Pay, if they can fix the bug with that, like I might use it, but it's still so limited. Like I'm trying to, I live in Los Angeles. It's not like there's a shortage of things here, and I like thinking like, who accepts Android Pay? A place that I would even consider shopping at. Okay, there's CVS and there's Macy's, and that's it. Like, I mean, I don't go to Subway. I don't go to McDonald's really. And if you go to McDonald's and use the drive-thru, like nobody will ever use NFC at a drive-thru, and I'll tell you why, because they will drop their phone, and it will only take once for them to never do it again.
I've seen like on some fast food places they have the scanner like sort of like on the outside of the building, like sort of pointed at the car area, but it still looks like the sort of thing that's just a very bad idea.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's just far too likely to result in a broken phone.
You would drop your phone, and then you would also have to open your car door to like pick it up. So it would just be terrible for two reasons.
Yeah, it would. It would, and yeah, so you would be extremely embarrassed.
Yeah. And then to top it off, I bet it didn't even work. Like you held it up
Probably.
the scanner and it just didn't
Although
work.
when I used it at Macy's, it was pretty fast. Like once I had put the fingerprint in, it was like, okay, you're done.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, that's
It varies a lot, I think, on how good the NFC chip in a phone is. I mean, because I've been using Google Wallet pretty regularly, and there are some phones that like it takes a second. You're like, is this gonna work? Okay, there we go. And some of them, like you get within 3 or 4 inches of the scanner, and it's
and actually going back to Samsung Pay, I know we're switching topics here. Wade County in the chat makes a great point that in places that they've never seen an NFC payment system, they'll think you're like trying to hack their credit card reader. Putting your phone, like they're gonna be like, this is fishy.
That happened when Google Wallet first came out a number of years back, like because they gave everybody $10 free to just to blow on stuff, and there was at least one story of a guy having the police called on him because a 7-Eleven clerk or something like was absolutely positive that he just hacked the machine.
Yeah, I guarantee that's gonna happen with Samsung Pay because you're gonna have people going like mom and pop shops in Middle America who have no desire to ever accept NFC payments because it means that they're probably going to get charged more by their processor for it because it's an advanced new technology, and somebody's going to try to touch their credit card reader with a phone and it's going to not go well. Because and most people, I feel like there's some people out there who probably would never trust it because it's like it's not a credit card. It's a credit card machine. The credit card has to go in the machine, and that's just the way it works.
Yeah,
but maybe not.
Once Samsung Pay is like actually available to everybody, I'm sure I'll try it, but I might be too embarrassed to ever use it again after that because it's weird.
It is.
And then like if it doesn't work, what do you explain to somebody? Like, no, like I just rubbed my phone on this machine because it was supposed to work and it didn't. And I realize that sounds crazy to you, but I'm being completely serious.
Yes.
You just stand there for like.
They
10
will actually
seconds.
think you are crazy. That's a good point. If it doesn't work, they'll be like, this person is completely insane.
Yeah. So here, let me pay with this other app on my phone. Just give me a minute.
See, that's, and part of the reason I liked Android Pay when I used it was because I got the instant notification, like, oh, here's what you spent, and here's where you spent it, and here's a pretty little, card in an app that tells you did that. And then using Simple, it does the same thing with a card, and I'm like, well, it's like most of what I want to begin with, so I don't really care. It doesn't seem that much more convenient to me. Even if the lock thing did work right, like I would still be like, I'm not sure that was really worth the hassle. Because, in a lot of places, you're standing in line, too. Like, you're waiting. What are you doing when you're standing in line? You're probably getting out your wallet and picking which card you're going to use and, what benefit is using the phone.
I'm usually playing with my phone while I'm waiting in line, so...
That's true. That is true. Okay, fair point.
I'm usually paying with my credit card when I'm waiting in line, so...
Wait, I remember seeing in commercials that you only wait in line if everybody's paying with cash.
Or checks.
Checks.
If everybody's paying with checks, you have to come back later. You have to make an appointment.
I feel like I'm gonna start paying with checks just because it's a pain in the ass and it'll take longer.
If everybody's paying with checks, you either...
Paying with checks is the next hipster movement.
Yes.
Oh my God! Please no.
like artisanal checks. Oh man, this is so
You heard it here first, everybody.
Oh God, if that's not a thing right now, I'm gonna Google that. If that's not a thing, I'm kickstarting that right now.
It's a great idea. Yeah, if you're seeing a lot of people paying by check, you've either gone into some kind of time warp situation or you're at the DMV. Those are the two situations.
Do DMVs like everywhere not take credit cards? Is that like an official thing? Like the various
I think California
DMVs
DMV actually does now. I think that for a long time. I think they take debit. They may not take credit.
In Ohio they have ATM machines that charge you like $3.50.
See, that's why I love my bank. It's the entire reason I bank with my small bank that I have, which if I have to deposit a check in my bank, I have to physically either mail it to them or go there, and it's like 45 minutes away. But they refund every single ATM fee, no matter where in the world it is, at the end of every month.
Oh, that's
a
nice.
maximum of like $40, I think, or something. So like I can use any ATM I want. It's amazing. So yeah, I'm done bragging about my bank now.
Okay.
Yes. We should probably mention before we move on from the Android Pay, not that we haven't already, that the apparently Marshmallow developer preview is just not ever going to have it. That was confirmed this week. So you got to kind of wait.
Yeah.
If you're on the developer preview, you got to wait until the official final release comes out before you get to play around with the Android Pays.
You know what else doesn't work on M Preview? Android Auto. It is disabled.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because I made the mistake of bringing a Nexus 6 to like an Android Auto press launch to test it out, and it was like, nope. It just sits there. It's like, no, you can't actually. It doesn't even give you a message. It's like nobody's using this, and if you have an M Preview phone, you know exactly why it's not working right now. So speaking of Nexuses.
Yes, Nexuses. And keeping them protected in this particular case. So on the Google Store, the Google hardware store, as in not the Play Store, the Google Store has started showing some references to a Nexus Protect program, which is going to be compatible with some of their hardware, but apparently not all of it. Not really a whole lot of details available just yet, but looks like there's going to be some type of a care package program, warranty, something along those lines coming for Nexus devices.
You know, this sounds great on paper until you realize that because it's Google, they're almost definitely contracting with a third-party phone insurance company that's actually going to handle the process.
It'll be Square Trade or something.
I mean, pretty much everybody does that, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
well, the carriers do that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you can go through other companies independently. Not that I think phone insurance really makes sense other than Apple Care, which is actually a good phone insurance policy for the most part. So it'll be interested to see what Google does. I wonder if they're just going to like straight up copy Apple Care where it's like a $50 deductible if you break it and you get 2 breaks in your lifetime. That'd be nice. Could deal with that. But like I think the main draw for Apple Care is that you can go to an Apple store, like, isn't it?
well, if you
I
live
think so.
near one, yeah.
I would say so.
But
Is it
if
good
you But if you have the Google Nexus Protect, then you can go to the Google Store, which is on the internet, so it's everywhere.
Yeah, totally. The
So
Google Store will mail you a UPS label, which you then have to print and then find a UPS store to take it to.
Right.
They'll have some of those pop-up Best Buy stores.
You know
And then
what
you
might
won't-
be a make or break for me is if for Nexus Protect, like if they had to put like a hard like deposit or like take a deposit from your credit card if they had to exchange an advanced device, and I feel like they almost definitely would because
well, they don't have to, but the other option is you have to go with the Motorola Zoom model where you just send it in, and then they'll send you one back X amount of months later. And then no deposit. You just won't have a phone for 3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, I have to wonder if they're going to use... I'm guessing Motorola contracts with a third party to do theirs. I don't know who it is, though. But I would guess that Google maybe would use the same one. I mean, they're not the same company anymore, but I'm guessing maybe they got the idea from Motorola. Because Motorola has a thing, don't they?
I don't think
Or
it's
do they
any...
not?
I don't know if it's like a separate thing. Like if you have a Motorola phone and you need it replaced, you just...
Oh,
send it
yeah, if
back.
there's a fault versus a break. Okay, no, it's not a coverage plan. Got it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's there's Square Trade who does that kind of work. I think Assurion's another company that I think Verizon uses. I think there's a couple other that different carriers use. So I mean, there's options out there.
Actually, most of them use. I think all of them use Asurion now. T-Mobile used to use a different one, and they switched to Asurion. So I think all 4 of them are on Asurion.
All 4 of them
now.
are using Asurion now.
Yeah, which is actually the best one by value if you actually want phone insurance. Yeah, because it covers theft, unlike almost every other phone insurance plan, which is nice, I guess. I don't know. I've broken several phones. Granted, I have a kind of limitless supply of phones, but at the same time, phone insurance has never struck me as a good value on its face. Because the one thing I like about Apple Care is that, like, if I break it, like, I can make an appointment and go to an Apple store in 2 days, and they will hand me a new iPad and be like, okay, bye. Whereas with every other system, I don't want to deal with mailing things. That sounds not fun.
And if you want them to send you the new thing first, they want money.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, I mean, how many people, if they can just like find a way to be like, okay, we'll send you the new phone, but by the way, we're going to, like, if you don't send back the other one, we'll initiate a charge on your card. I mean, I guess the idea is that people could close their credit cards, but who's going to do that?
Or I mean, well, you could get like a prepaid MasterCard or something that has, no money on it.
Yeah, that's true. Fair point. People, people ruin this for everybody. Stop it, people.
So I would just like to point out, I actually once got banned from Asurion because I actually replaced my phone 3 times on the same insurance policy within a 6-month span, and then they said you are just not allowed to have insurance anymore, and they wouldn't let me have it again until I switched to T-Mobile. That was the.
And it's probably just a glitch in the system whereby the database for Verizon doesn't, we swap over the T-Mobile and they just don't know.
Right.
Yeah, no, because like all kinds of insurers will do that. Like homeowners insurance will do that to people. Like, nope, you can never get a policy with us ever again.
For the record, it fell out of my pocket on a roller coaster. I lost it at a bar, and I went swimming with it in my pocket, all in a single 6-month
Matt, you were
period.
like a living commercial.
I've never ruined or broken a phone before that or after that, so that was just kind of a rough patch in my life.
Which phone was this? I feel like I need that to complete the image.
No, this okay. So this was a Motorola V60. It was pre-smartphone. It was a while ago. It was back when you only had to pay $40 to get a replacement phone instead of $100 or $120 or whatever they're charging now. So
yeah.
Good times. All right, so let's move on to Now on Tap, because unlike Android Pay, Now on Tap is available if you have the M preview. So this is apparently just an update to the regular Now app. It's not a separate application. You just download the upgrade and it just starts working, I guess.
So yeah, it was an update to the Google app, which controls the home screen and all of the Google Now stuff. And I'm turning on my Nexus 5 again just to make sure, because this morning when we checked again, the Now on Tap stuff had stopped working.
Oh, that's right.
Because I guess Google didn't actually mean to let us use it yet.
Somebody stepped in a big patch of oops.
Yeah. So let's just see what it does now.
I think everybody
Google
was.
Now can't be reached at the moment. So yeah, it's still disabled. But last night it totally worked, and we got our first look at how Now on Tap would be, and it was interesting. Some of the things that it pulled up were actually really insightful and useful, and sometimes I was just wondering like why it didn't catch something. I mean, it clearly like isn't done yet.
Isn't that the story of like Google's life with every product? Wow,
Yeah.
This is really insightful. And other times it's absolutely infuriating.
I mean, it's less useful than what they demoed before. So there are things that are probably still supposed to happen before they let everyone use it.
Yeah, I feel like once they have actual, I don't know, like suggest content in there, it'll be more useful. But it's also strange to me that they sacrificed the shortcut to actual Google Now.
You can't swipe up to get Google Now, which strikes me as very weird.
I still say if I ruled the world, it would be the on-tap cards would come up, and then you scroll past those, and Google Now snaps up.
Yeah, that makes an abundance of sense. But yeah, so like the way it works now, you long press home to get on tap, and then there's this big bar at the bottom for Google stuff where you can like tap again, and it'll open Google Now. But I mean, I guess their idea is like, well, but everybody's going to be using the Google Now launcher with those obscene colors all over it now, so they can just swipe over to the Now stream.
Which, yeah, I mean, it feels totally like a product decision, but it's not one that I agree with.
I concur.
Can I just say for the record that I flat out hate the new Google Now page?
I don't mind it except for all of the white space at the top, and it's not like I want to be that guy who always complains about white space, but like there's a lot of it.
Yeah, you guys know that I am like a huge cheerleader for white space, and even I feel like it's too much. Like the doodles that they've had so far don't.
Yeah, they just sort of
really make use of it.
They just float up there above the search bar.
It's just kind of a little rectangle with this.
Yeah, it looks like you're looking at something designed for a smaller screen.
Yeah, and then
I feel like with the regular Google logo it works fine, but Can't we just like move the search bar up a little bit and put the doodle up there?
Right. And the big gaps between the different sections, I don't need that either. Like the upcoming versus updates for you versus, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like getting the content all in a row was fine for me before, which maybe this is part of, opening up now to more different kinds of cards, especially from third-party developers. But for now, it's really awkward, and I don't feel like those give me a ton of value versus just having the lineup.
Yeah. And also this update, if you installed it on older versions of Android, it would turn on the new vertical scrolling app list and widget list. So I guess that's probably going to actually happen.
Or maybe it's a bug.
I guess
Who
maybe.
knows with
The whole
Google.
design is just one big bug. Oops.
Yeah, the vertical app drawer, I don't really care. I mean, it's just, I just have to learn a different way to flip.
You know what's interesting, though, is that I have found, because previously when I was using a horizontal drawer, and I totally used Nova Launcher, as everybody knows, but I was using a horizontal drawer with the pages, and I got really anxious about how many apps I had installed, and I had the easy uninstaller app to uninstall multiple apps at once, because I was so upset that I had too many pages.
Yeah, just swipe through too many.
Yeah, but then I turned on vertical drawer instead, and now I don't really care because I can just hit the fast scroll and jump to the app that I want, and I don't have to pay attention to how many.
I never use fast scroll. I just can't. I don't know why. It bothers me. It's too fast.
I use the fast scroll on the I'm sorry, Liam, on Action Launcher, because when it has the slide out list from the left, and then it has the numbers all down the side, so you can just tap on the letter. You can just tap on the letter you want and scroll up and down. I find that useful. If you can do that in Launcher, I would totally use it.
We need a moderate scroll for David.
Yes.
Stroll.
Yes, a stroll.
The sensible stroll.
I feel like too fast, it reduces touchability. That's what I would say. It makes me feel anxious that I'm going to over scroll to the
You're
wrong
going to crash into something.
Yes, exactly. I'm going to hit the end of the app drawer and be like, damn it, again!
So finding apps that start with a T is your worst nightmare.
Oh God, it's too far. I just don't open apps that start with T. It's too. If they're not on my home screen, I just don't open them anymore. They may as well be dead to me.
So what you really need is a Huawei phone that doesn't have an app drawer. That solves your problem.
I don't mind not having an app drawer, honestly. I just start putting things in folders because that's what people on iOS do, and it's not that bad. It makes you be more of an active manager of the content on your device, I think.
It's pretty bad.
Granted, I am lazy. My iPad has 8 home screens at this point.
So on the phones that don't have the app drawers, and if you go through and you create the folders, do you still have to have your folders arranged from left to right, top to bottom, or can you put them anywhere on the screen?
You can usually put them anywhere. I think it varies.
Oh yeah, you can put them anywhere.
Not having an app drawer stresses me out so much.
I like the app drawer. I still like.
I would never install an app. If I was I'm gonna install this and it's gonna be on my home screen and then I'm gonna have to go move it someplace.
I feel like
it's too much. It's too much work.
Can I just put all of the apps on the iPhone into one folder and then put that in the middle of the dock and then put a few outside, and it would be like an app drawer?
Yeah, that would actually. Yeah, that would be ideal.
Boop. I just solved iOS.
If only Apple would let you have one folder of all of your apps. It was easily accessible from the bottom of the screen at all times. That's all they need to do.
App drawer, if not the ultimate app folder.
That's what it is. I just had the limit
That is
exist
definitely
moment.
what Tim Cook is going to say in 1 to 2 years.
There is a limit, if I remember correctly, though, on how many apps you can have in the folder.
No, the limit does not exist.
No, we're limitless.
We're beyond limits.
We've accessed the other 90% of our brain.
We're going to turn into a USB stick.
All right, so we should move on to watch. So David was tinkering with his watch, his Huawei watch, and interesting things were discovered.
Yeah, so I have the Huawei watch here, which I call to watch because it's funnier. They should have called it the watch. I think it would have been funny. But so if you're watching the video, you can probably see the little screws. There are 4 screws on the back of the Huawei watch. They're just little Torx screws, and that's the only thing holding the back plate on. There's not any like crazy adhesive or clips or anything. I mean, there are little clips in there, but you would struggle to break them. They're pretty thick. And so I popped off the back of the watch, and the back plate itself has this metallic module in it that corresponds with an opening on the underside of the watch. Now, there's an opening on both ends, like polar ends of the watch. On the end that would face away from you when you're wearing the watch, there are 2 small holes, and those are the microphones. So one presumably for noise cancellation and one for primary voice input, I guess, or whichever. Just they work in tandem probably. And facing toward you though is a much larger hole, and attached to that hole, or part of the piece of plastic that hole goes into essentially, is this metal block. And you can read our article to see what it looks like. But the point to take away is it looks exactly, not completely, but very close to the way Huawei's earpiece speakers look on some of their recent phones. Like if you go to like a phone parts store on the internet, you can find these little earpiece speakers as individual parts to fix your phone. It looks exactly like that pretty much. So it's probably a speaker. It's not a microphone. It's not the vibration motor. At least we don't think it's a microphone. It would be a really weird microphone if it was a microphone, because you can see the 2 noise canceller, or the 2 mics up at the top of the watch when you have this assembled. So it'd be strange if it was a microphone. So it looks like it's a speaker. It looks like it doesn't work. There's no indication that it does anything at this point, but it looks like it's there. We asked Huawei, and at this time they do not have a comment on the thingy. Also, I apologize to them for opening their watch. So yeah, it looks like maybe Android Wear will get sound, or maybe they're going to release a version in China with different software that does do sound. I don't know. There are multiple possibilities here. So yeah,
That's some good detective work.
So,
sure.
what would we use it for? I'm just wondering out loud.
Voice calls and notifications,
Yeah, pretty
probably.
much. Voice calls, notifications, and alarms maybe.
I don't
I
really.
mean, if I could listen to music through it, that would be about the most annoying thing a person could do.
See, I don't actually want any of these things. I don't want my watch to make noise. I'm totally fine with it not making noise.
No, I'm fine with it too. Like, because voice calls, like, you know, the Gears have done that since they came out. That's been, I guess, 2.5 years now, and it sucked, and it continues to suck. And voice calls on the Apple Watch suck. So there's no, I don't think there's really any advantage to being able to do voice calls on the watch. I don't see that as a plus.
And like audio notifications don't make any sense because like it's like strapped to your arm. If it vibrates, you're gonna feel it. I don't know why you would need an additional like audio.
Yeah, something people have said that like the speaker could be used to do the ultrasonic stuff that Google's been playing with, and that could send like an ultrasonic verification frequency to connect the devices.
Bluetooth is pretty easy to.
It's almost definitely for voice calls. I mean, let's be realistic, because Apple has it, and therefore Google feels compelled to match the feature set of the Apple Watch, even if it's a dumb feature, which it is, because it just makes the experience of using your phone for a phone call worse. It does not improve anything. Like it legitimately makes things worse. So I don't understand why people want it, but some people do, and I guess there's not a good reason to not give it to them if it's possible to do it.
Could well, I don't know. I was gonna say if your watch is connected to Wi-Fi, maybe it could use Whisper to connect with nearby stuff. But anyway, I have to say, from the pairing perspective, setting up the Huawei watch was super easy. I think Android Wear has improved its pairing interface immensely.
Oh, I've never had a problem setting up like the Watch Urbane or even the old G Watch R. Moto 360 seemed to have a lot of pairing pains.
Yes, it gave me trouble every single time because it would forget everything, and it just wouldn't. Yeah. Anyways.
So just a thought on the audio notifications thing. I could see, so there's the option in Android Wear where you can mute your phone if your watch is connected to it. And I'm assuming with the on-body stuff that's in Android that your watch probably knows when you're wearing it versus when you're not. So maybe they could have an option where you have audio notifications through your watch if you're not wearing it.
Oh man, you're going all robot-y on us.
Oh, well that sucks.
I would hit your laptop. It seems like it's having an issue.
Hold on.
Still crackly.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. I was going through the mic on the webcam. I'm going through the laptop mic now. So.
Okay. Sounds like your laptop has a grounding issue.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or isolation, something like that.
I need to replace it, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
That's the Huawei watch, which we will have a review of probably next week, which I like it so far. It's much more comfortable to wear. If you have a watch or band, the Huawei watch is like 10 times more comfortable to have on your wrist. The leather band is so much softer, and the watch itself is less bulky, so it feels less cumbersome to wear. It's very nice. I like it a lot so far.
All right, so moving on to, well, this is actually an Android and ARM subject, which we haven't had a whole lot of those recently, but Google has gotten themselves into a situation over in Mother Russia regarding some anti-monopoly going-ons about the G apps that are loaded by default on Android devices. So apparently, I don't know, apparently they're going the whole like IE on Windows thing where they're just offended by the fact that you might want to put your own products on your devices. So what's going on here? What's going to be the ultimate end game here? Are we going to...
Well, David's opinion is that Google is just going to stop offering the Play Store in Russia. He's been pushing this quite hard.
That, or I think Google's OEM partners will be forced to take the apps off their phones, and there just won't be Google apps in Russia except for I think either way this ends with Google not being able to en masse distribute the Play Store in Russia, because there's no way they're going to agree to Yandex's demands. It doesn't seem plausible.
Is there, maybe I'm just ignorant to the situation, but is there some logical underpinning that makes sense about this? Because to me, it seems like a competitor of Google is starting an investigation about Google so that Google will be less competitive with them.
Here's the thing about this, though. It's happening in Russia, and Yandex is a very large Russian company, and Google is an American company. This is the entire basis, I think.
It definitely seems exceptionally political. I can't, it's so, even if it wasn't, which I think it's a remote possibility, the current state of U.S.-Russia relations clouds anything Russia does against America or an American company.
Yeah,
and I think that really is just what's happening here.
And Yandex is not like trailing Google. Like, they're the market leader for search in Russia. I mean, Google is making big strides in mobile, obviously, because Android has Google search built in. So Yandex is basically saying, well, it's not fair for Google to be the default search engine on all of the Android phones just because it's their operating system. So I mean, they're pointing to the distribution agreement that OEMs have to sign that say, you're going to present the Google apps in this certain way.
Yeah, the MATA.
Yeah. So. But I mean, the same argument holds as the last time this came up. Like, Android is open source; they can just, take the code and build a phone if they want.
Yeah, I mean, the counterpoint is that basically that OEMs are being compelled to do this because if they don't agree, then they don't have the app distribution. They don't have the Google Play Store, which then makes their phones less appealing.
And I mean, and that's based entirely on supposition, though. I don't think we actually know.
Yeah, and it's not like you couldn't, encourage developers in Russia to distribute their apps on a different store, like, the Amazon App Store or something like that. It's not impossible.
Right. So the Amazon App Store is an alternative, but also, like, if you are not happy using Google's platform with their apps and agreeing to that, then you make your own platform. But when you make your own platform, that doesn't mean that you get something like a store for free, Like
Yeah.
you're not entitled to that just because you decided to make a phone.
Yeah,
Right?
I think this is so stuck in politics and just general Russian, government suspicion of all American companies that there's no real logic to it, other than what Yandex wants essentially is to get the IE decision whereby Google would be required to present users a choice of service providers when they first turn on their Android phone. Like you could select Yandex mode or you can select Google mode. And of course, Yandex would like the Google Play Store to be on there still because they don't want the phones.
They want, they want their cake and to eat it.
Yeah, I don't see. That's the thing for me that they want way too much. They want they're very uncompromising in their position on this, and I think that's what will cause Google just to say, screw it, we don't want to deal with you guys, and it's not worth it.
But at the same time, Russia is a big market. And if Google
largest for Google, I think.
Google just like says, well, we're just not gonna do Google Play services on Android in Russia, then like they've just opened themselves up to the China problem where they're going to have proliferations of non-compatible forks.
Yeah, but Google Play is about to
stores.
Probably launch in China.
I know, and that's the thing. It's like would they like say, okay, we're gonna like just let this happen all over again in Russia, so that in 10 years we can come back and like have to put out a million fires.
I mean, they could just trade Russia for China, I guess.
I mean, China's probably more valuable anyways, to be honest.
I think China's an even bigger market, probably.
Oh, it's way bigger.
Probably,
China has
that's
far
where
more people than Russia.
That's where all the phones are made already.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I have no doubt that if Google Play launches in China, well, it might not be a huge success. It's hard to say how like embedded those competitors in China are. I mean, I doubt they'll ever win search there. Baidu, like, stomps everybody, and then Weibo for social, and then Alibaba for shopping, and lots of other stuff.
I mean, it would be really interesting to see like what would happen in like Russia for users if suddenly they couldn't get Google Play services on their phones. I imagine there would be a lot of methods to sideload that stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure you just have people sideloading Google Play services because the phones, even if they ship without Google Play services, would still probably be the same basic phones you could get anywhere else in the world. I mean, people would probably just import non-Russian phones to start with, but they could also very easily then either flash a Google Apps enabled ROM on their phone or just sideload the package via wonderful services like apkmirror.com.
It also depends how butthurt Russia is over the whole situation. They could start monkeying with Google services.
Yeah, I mean, this could be Yandex blowing smoke. I mean, we'll see what happens. But yeah, an interesting development and one that is just almost certainly at some point going to hurt users.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to Amazon because they had announcements today. Announcements galore. New Fire tablets, new Fire TVs.
Man, you're all super crackly
crackly
again. So many crackles.
Damn it. What?
If you just turn off your mics and yell really, really loud, maybe we'll hear you where we are.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so Amazon had all kinds of stuff to announce this day. There was tablets, there were Fire TVs, there were new features, functionalities, all kinds of stuff from Amazon, starting off with a $50 tablet that you could buy in a six-pack. Six-pack of tablets.
The six-pack of tablets is definitely the lead here. That's just cool. I mean, hey, while you're out, can you pick me up a six-pack of tablets? Sure. No problem. And it comes in a little holder, and they stack them up. There's a handle and everything. It's adorable.
It is pretty funny. I wonder. I guess their place would be like schools. I mean, who does buy a six-pack of tablets?
I don't
like grandparents with too many grandkids.
You know,
that's actually
maybe this holiday season that's going to be the hot gift.
That's actually probably a really good idea for grandparents. That'd be a winner. 6 winners.
If only grandparents knew how to use Amazon.
And then when Easter rolls around, they'll have an Easter-themed six-pack. They'll just put them in a little basket with like the Easter grass all in there.
Totally. They could have religious-themed versions, holiday versions of the Amazon Fire Tablet six-pack. You could have the Hanukkah six-pack, like they actually come on like a candelabra. Be outstanding.
A menorah six-pack, but then it would have to be an 8-pack.
Well, they could be a modified
Nine.
Memora.
Yeah, they could just offer a different deal for different holidays. But I mean, basically the way it is right now, you're getting essentially buy 5 get 1 free for the $50 tablets. I mean, and it's not a great tablet objectively, but for $50 it has like I think a 1024 by 600 screen. It has some sort of generic ARM processor of some
It's
number of
MediaTek,
cores.
I think.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's it looks like it'll be a fine little tablet. It's what is it, a 7 or 6?
7.
It's a 6. I thought it was a 6.
They no, they're saying it's 7 on the site.
Okay.
They have another one that, hold on, let me pull it up here. Amazon. So yeah, it's
I mean, the thing for me, I have to wonder if this is going to cannibalize a lot of the traditional Kindle sales.
yeah, so the Fire, they have the Fire tablet is $49.99 and it's a 7-inch tablet.
Okay.
There's a Fire HD 6, which is a 6-inch tablet for $99.99.
Okay. Yeah,
so the stories in the past that were talking about a 6-inch $50 tablet, they just had their details mismatched.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy though, like David was saying, where this matches price-wise with the Kindle readers. I mean, Kindles are more expensive than the tablet now. I mean, it's really interesting that Amazon was able to get the price of the necessary like LCDs down low enough that they could make a 7-inch $50 tablet, but they can't get e-paper displays cheaply enough to make the Kindles that inexpensive.
I wonder if the Kindle sales have just gone off a cliff or something. Like, man, maybe that is.
I'm sure they're lower because tablets are so cheap now.
Oh, because the Kindle Voyage is $200.
I mean, yeah, that was definitely like a weird luxury product. That was Jeff Bezos thingy. I would really like this. Can we make this?
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, you do have Kindle snobs. They still exist, but they're far rarer than they used to be. Because
So
I
do
use
you get a
Kindles
year?
all the time.
Wait a second. Do you get a year of Prime with a $50 tablet? They can't do that.
Ew, I don't think
That
so.
would
They can't
you
do
would,
that.
you would gain $50 every time you bought one.
Just buy a new one every year.
A 6-pack right now. Jeez.
Yeah, no, you do not get any free Prime with the.
That would be amazing. But they also have a new kids tablet, which is I think $100. But that one has the no questions asked, like it's destroyed obviously because your kid broke it and will still replace it guarantee thing, I think.
So more interestingly, the Fire TVs were updated, and they now have 4K support, which Apple TV doesn't have it. There's one Android TV that does it, which I mean, who wants to buy a Shield TV? I'm sorry, it's too expensive.
It is.
And Roku doesn't have it, and yeah, and now Amazon does, and Amazon has some 4K content. It exists.
I mean, they have Netflix. Yes, Netflix has 4K stuff.
They have Netflix, and I think actually Amazon Instant Video has.
I think all the Amazon originals. I think all their original stuff is in 4K.
I think though with Netflix you have to be certified for the 4K Netflix stuff. Like the Shield TV specifically is. I don't know if Amazon stuff will be. Hopefully it will be.
Oh wait, okay. Well, no, maybe not. I'm trying to figure out what the deal is with 4K on this. I mean, I don't have a 4K TV, so it's not really relevant to me. But, 4K Ultra. Okay, it says you can stream. So I guess it's mostly for Amazon stuff. I don't know if it works for anything else. Okay.
Wait, are you saying that Amazon is featuring their own services on their products?
Features, Instant Video in 4K. Amazon Instant Video, like Orphan Black, some movies too, actually. Captain Phillips, Moneyball, and more. So it's Amazon Video stuff, which I mean is a pretty good library. So I'm honestly kind of considering getting one of these. I don't have a 4K television yet, but even so, it would be a. I mean, it's a pretty good box. The one thing it doesn't have, what is the one thing it's missing? I thought there was a major service they didn't have. Maybe I'm wrong.
Do they have HBO?
No, they do have Hulu. Okay, I guess they do have everything on the Amazon.
Well, I don't think they have HBO now, do they?
Yeah, they do. They have HBO Go or HBO Now.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
they do.
saying they have it. Okay.
Yeah, they seem to.
Well, I guess
Interesting.
David's just going to buy that right now. We can
Yeah,
take a
maybe.
break if you need to get that set up.
And then there's a new Fire TV stick, which I don't know. I don't know what's new with that, but yeah, Amazon stuff.
Amazon stuff. So also there was some Qualcomm stuff this week that got introduced. Some processors and the likes, but I think probably the most interesting thing to most of our listeners would probably be the Quick Charge 3.0, which is now a thing. Obviously, you're not going to see it on a phone that you buy from the store next week. It's probably going to be next year, well into next year before you start seeing it on any phones, but pretty impressive statistics with the Quick Charge 3.0.
Yeah, so Quick Charge 3.0 will debut on Snapdragon 820, I think. I think it will be the first. Maybe 620 will be out before that, but I'm guessing 820 will be out first. And so
Yep.
it can charge a little bit faster than 2.0. So because you basically just have diminishing returns statistically once it's charging that fast. So it's like marginally faster than Quick Charge 2.0, but it leaches less power apparently. So there's less. It's more efficient, which is nice.
Yep. My Quick Charge 2.0s for that we got with the Samsung phones have just taken to getting like insanely hot. Like I'm afraid my couch is going to catch on fire hot. And it's not the phone that gets hot. It's actually the little USB plug that plugs into the bottom. So
I mean, those Samsung ones are extremely compact. Everything's packed in there pretty tight.
Yeah, they're no bigger than the regular ones, but if you look at the stuff from other companies, they're usually substantially larger.
Which I think, part marketing there, where it's like if you open it up, there's a lot of empty space in those things.
Well, that's a lot of empty space for heat to radiate out before it touches the things you're touching.
Yes, maybe. It could be.
I accidentally hit F5, so that was good.
Oh, good.
Well, you look refreshed.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
So, all right.
It's time for emails.
It is time for emails. We got some good emails this week. Unfortunately, they're a little bit on the long side, so I'm just going to kind of point out some of the details. This first one was from somebody whose name I didn't put in the spreadsheet, which is really dumb. But our first email was regarding. Jeez, did I not? Hold on. I can't read this email without saying the person's name. There's just something not right
Must be
about
identified,
that.
other than Sapphire Guy.
Yes, Sapphire Man.
I mean, that's a cool nickname, right?
It's a cool nickname. So Sapphire Guy, when he's not out fighting crime, generally I'm stalling for time if you can't tell. Generally,
I was gonna say superpower is hardness, but then I was like, no, that's not appropriate. But,
Oh, you said it anyway, so here we are.
Adam is his name. His name is Adam. I felt like he should have had a more extravagant name after all that build-up, but you can only deal with what you're given, I guess. So Adam wrote in and wanted to clear up some points about Sapphire versus Gorilla Glass and the like. So I'll just kind of cut to the point here. It says there are some misconceptions about Sapphire that I hope to clear up. Sapphires are very hard. Only diamonds are harder, and that makes the Sapphire crystals nearly scratch-proof. Hardness, however, has nothing to do with toughness, which in turn determines how easily the crystal can shatter. Shatter resistance is important for phones because we're clumsy and drop them all the time, but because watches are strapped to our wrists, shatter resistance on a watch should only be important to an astronaut. Which there's more details about that later on if that seems kind of out of the blue. But on a watch, we care about one thing only, scratch resistance. Since we can't all have diamond watch crystals, Sapphire is the next best thing. So I think it raises a good point. If it's hardness versus shatterproof, I think I'd rather have a phone that's shatterproof and a watch that's scratchproof.
Hardness versus brittleness.
Yeah, that's something that came up when Apple was trying very hard to make a phone with a sapphire glass screen.
But that was synthetic sapphire, which has different qualities.
Well, yeah, they were trying. They were trying to manufacture sapphire, but they found that it was very scratch resistant, but it was very easy to crack. And a lot of the they called them blebs, like these giant chunks of sapphire glass that they would make and then shave them into screens. They found that they actually they broke very easily, but they didn't scratch. They just broke.
I thought that was like the big point of that company, whatever Phoenix or whatever it was. I want to say
Yeah,
the
I
name of
forget
the
what it's
company.
called. Yeah, I mean,
They were trying to develop a tough sapphire.
yeah, they said that they thought they'd be able to make the screens and they wouldn't break, but they were very wrong about that.
Yeah. So yes, we
So
failed
no-
to clarify that appropriately last week. We should have known.
Yeah.
Or I
So
failed to
what we
clarify
need
it
is
appropriately.
Gorilla Sapphire.
Yes, Gorilla
Can we get
Sapphire.
that?
I'm sure Corning is hard at work on it.
Okay, so on to our next email. This one is from Thomas. You see I had the name ready on that one, mainly because it's in the email, so I kind of cheated. But Thomas was emailing in about the discussion we had last week about the battery drain from LTE. So apparently he has been having some significant battery problems on his Nexus 5. He downloaded an app called Lean Droid with an in-app purchase that allows you to switch off LTE. And what it allows you to do is switches off your LTE when your screen is off, but turns it back on when your screen turns on. It says there's a little bit of a delay before it gets turned back on, but huge improvement in battery life from doing that. So something to just kind of throw out there.
So in regard to this email, I would say I would think of LTE kind of like trying to do like a car analogy here. LTE is able to, it's like having more horsepower. So you can use more horsepower to get where you're going more quickly, and if all you care about is how long it takes you to get to your destination, you only have to apply a little bit of gas, and then the horsepower will pull you through, and then you let off the gas, and then you're not using any gas anymore. Whereas with 3G, you have to apply gas for longer, but you're not pressing the pedal as hard, I guess is the way I would put it. This isn't a very good analogy. But basically, 3G, when it's active, when the mobile radio is active with 3G, it uses less power than LTE does when it's active. LTE consumes more power when it's on. The idea with LTE is that the radio needs to be on less because the amount of time it needs to complete an action is less. Much less.
I think that's definitely true if you're actively using the phone, if you're downloading stuff. I think if you're just worrying about background syncing, it might actually be just fine to leave it on 3G. That's why I guess I'm willing to believe that this does make a noticeable difference if it's if it's that important to you.
LTE has never been very power efficient. It's never been a strength of the standard, and it's almost certainly part of the reason phone battery life has just been very stale in the last few years.
Yeah.
All right. We also, our last email is from Lars. Lars is from Copenhagen. He has a question about the Galaxy S6 Edge Plus. I've noticed some reviews for this device haven't been the greatest. This is basically just a bigger S6 Edge. Nothing to see here, it was said. So I had the S6 Edge, and I love that device. I didn't initially want to get the Plus, but I saw it in real life. I had to get it, and I noticed big differences in battery life and handling. The metal sides of the Plus seem bigger, giving it a much better grip than its smaller sibling. Also, battery life is really great, and the extra memory seems to beef up the performance quite a bit. So my question is, why hasn't the Edge Plus gotten as much, hasn't gotten the praise that it has, hasn't gotten more praise than it has? So, David, you actually reviewed this device, right? So you might be the best one to.
I'm still using it. I'm like waiting for M to come out on the Nexus 6, and I don't want to switch phones because I'm lazy. So I'm still using it every day. The battery life sucks. I don't know if that has to do with like what mobile network you're on. I'm on AT&T, and I have voice over LTE turned off, and the battery life still blows. There's just no two ways about it. Like I cannot use the difference between using the phone and not using the phone has such a negligible impact on my battery life because the standby battery life is so bad. It just doesn't really matter that much. I can get like 4 hours of screen on, like if I just push it to like drain the battery by the afternoon, or I can get like 45 minutes of screen on if I let it go all the way till nighttime. Just because the mobile or the idle drain is so bad. So maybe it varies by model and firmware, but I've not had the good battery life experience that.
Is the chipset the same? Is the chipset?
Yeah, it's same all across all markets. It could be that if you're on a 3G network, that maybe it's more efficient or something. I don't know.
Okay, so
yeah.
I also have an Edge Plus that I've been using. I'm using it on T-Mobile. So I don't know if this accounts for part of the difference, but I've been having okay battery life. I mean, it seems easily. I mean, it gets through a day just fine. My idle drain is not as bad as David's, but it's still not. I mean, it's still not what you would.
How's the
expect.
battery compared to? How's the battery? Because you have the S6, the original S6 as well, right?
Yeah, I mean it's better than that, but I mean it's a much larger battery and the screen resolution it's a bigger screen. But I mean it's not as good as you would expect from a phone that has a 3,000 milliamp hour battery. I mean a year or two ago, a phone with a battery that big would have been almost 2 days, regardless of other factors. Now it's like you'll get through a day, and if that's all you need, then I guess that's cool. But I mean, Samsung is clearly prioritizing the aesthetics of its phones over things like longer battery life right now.
Yeah, I just don't. The phone. Don't get me wrong, extremely striking. I definitely see the draw to buy it, but it's crazy expensive, and I just think that the performance. I'm just going to disagree. It's not any better than the regular S6 Edge. I think that's you're experiencing phone placebo. Because it still has the multitasking problem and it still has the general jank of the S6 Edge, despite, in theory, being crazy fast. I mean, it's not a bad phone at all.
No, I don't think that it performs any better. I mean, the battery life has been a little bit better.
I was speaking to our imaginary person in the room who wrote the email.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the performance is identical.
Yeah, so I just, I think a lot of the reason it's gotten the very light media reception is because it is just a big S6 Edge for the most part. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it looks better than the regular Edge because the black bezel around the screen is less noticeable, and also I think Samsung added like a bright highlight along the edge of the screen that kind of distracts you from the black part, or like takes the place of it. It was a good stylistic decision, whatever they did, and it does look good.
If you're very into that whole Edge screen thing, then like the Edge Plus is
the Edge
one
screen
you
is
should
just
get.
still totally useless too.
There's
no defending any of those features.
Okay, so wait, on yours, what % of the time does that Edge gesture thing work? Like where you pull up those.
I just turned it off immediately. I didn't even bother.
Oh, really? I found like it turns on like maybe half the time, and it takes like 2 or 3 seconds to do it. Like I'm trying to turn it on right now, and it's just not working.
I'm also having an issue with mine where it's like randomly disconnecting from Wi-Fi for no apparent reason.
There you go. Third time it turned on. Third time.
Oh well, Samsung's had that thing since they had it on the Note Edge, and they also had a version of it on the Galaxy S3, I think, where you would hover your hand over the phone.
I remember that. That was I think they had that in the
basically
S4.
just an iteration of that.
And they took it off in the S5.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Motorola Actions thing where you can wave the phone over the phone and it wakes up.
Yeah, but the better way to do it was like, okay, it knows when you take it out of your pocket and does it, and that made more sense.
Wasn't that called Hover Hands?
Hover Hands. Samsung Hover Hands.
I mean, it wasn't S Hands. I don't recall. It wasn't Shans. But Hover Hands is pretty equally bad.
Or something. I don't know.
Okay. Well, hey, if you guys would like to send in your comments, questions, concerns, anything you'd like to us to discuss on the show, you can do that at podcast@androidpolice.com. You can also reach us at 530-HELLO-AP. That is 530-435-5627. You can also follow us on Twitter at Android Police and on Google Plus and Facebook. So thanks for listening.
Okay, I'm going to hit the stop broadcast button even though I know this annoys people.